Today, we're tackling a question that's been on the minds of parents, students, and educators for years. Is the UK education system in its current form setting some children up to fail? Why are some parents now calling for an entire overhaul of the curriculum? So what exactly is going wrong? And how can they fix it? Hi everyone, and welcome back to Jaxom Talks. Now, before you reach for the comments to tell me I'm wrong, let's be clear. This is not an attack on our brilliant teachers or the hard work that goes into running our schools. It's a conversation about the system itself, the curriculum, the priorities, and the resources. We're going to look at 4 key areas that are crucial for a child's success, both in and out of the classroom, and ask if we're doing enough. We're talking about critical thinking, real-world skills, nutrition, and the overlooked importance of sleep. So, grab a brew, settle in, and let's get into it. First up, critical thinking. This is a big one. When I was at school, the primary goal was to memorize facts, pass exams, and get a good grade. But is that enough anymore? Critical thinking, in a nutshell, is the ability to look at information from different sources, weigh up the evidence, and form a reasoned, balanced judgment. It's about asking why, and not just accepting things at face value. It's what prevents us from falling for fake news, helps us solve complex problems at work, and allows us to navigate the complexities of life. The problem, many argue, is that the national curriculum doesn't always put a due emphasis on this. While it's comprehensive in many ways, it can often favor knowledge recall over deep analytical thought. A student might be able to tell you the causes of World War I, but can they analyze the different perspectives of those involved and debate the most influential factors? Are they able to apply that historical understanding to a current political situation? Some educational experts suggest that a more integrated approach, using real-world case studies and engaging questions that go beyond simple knowledge recall, is a more powerful way to foster this skill. They also suggest that moving beyond a simple pros and cons list to a free form "so what" mindset is crucial. This is about making a judgment, not just describing a situation. Without this skill, we're not just shortchanging our students. We're potentially creating a generation that is ill-equipped to navigate a world increasingly filled with misinformation and complex global challenges. That brings me to our second point, real-world skills. You've probably heard someone say, "I learned more in my first year of work than I did in 5 years of school." Now, while that is a bit of an exaggeration, it touches on a very real concern. Are we preparing students for the modern workplace? The UK's vocational training system, or TVET, is doing a lot of great work. Programs like WorldSkills UK are helping to embed real-world challenges into the curriculum, which is fantastic. They're equipping students with technical and professional skills that are directly applicable to a job. But for students in a more traditional academic path, there can sometimes be a disconnect. Employers today aren't just looking for people with a string of high-level pass grades. They're looking for skills like teamwork, problem-solving, and resilience. These are often called employability skills, and they are just as important as technical knowledge. The Edge Foundation, an educational charity, highlights the importance of real-world learning, where the curriculum is intentionally designed to be relevant and contextualized. This could mean collaborating with local businesses, doing community projects, or solving problems that exist in the real world. The evidence suggests that when students see the relevance of what they're learning, they become more motivated, more engaged, and ultimately, more successful. The skills gap is a big issue in the UK economy, especially in sectors like digital technology and healthcare. By making education more practical and less abstract, we can better prepare our young people for the jobs of the future, and in doing so, give them a real shot at success. Now let's talk about something we all need: food. We've all heard the phrase "you are what you eat," and it turns out that's incredibly true when it comes to a child's ability to learn. Research has shown an undeniable link between a healthy diet and academic attainment, behavior, and overall well-being. A diet high in processed foods, sugar, and unhealthy fats can lead to irritability, anxiety, and poor memory, not exactly the recipe for success in the classroom. On the other hand, good nutrition supports steady moods, better concentration, and improved memory. So what's the situation in UK schools? Well, a recent report by the Centre for Young Lives found some worrying things. It highlighted that children on free school meals often have restricted choices and that there is a general lack of fruit, vegetables, and salad in many schools. The portion sizes were also noted as being too small, leaving children hungry and unable to concentrate in the afternoon. As one young researcher put it, the closest thing you get to fruit is jelly. The report calls for schools to be better supported in providing healthy, nutritious meals. Programs like free school meals and where available breakfast clubs have shown real positive results, not just on academic performance but also on attendance and punctuality. When a child isn't hungry, they can focus. When they're not distracted by a sugar crash, they can think clearly. It seems like a simple fix, but it's a huge part of the puzzle. Investing in school food isn't just about a child's physical health. It's a direct investment in their educational potential. Furthermore, 9% of children live in poverty, and this figure rises to 22% in some parts of the UK. Poverty has a significant impact on a child's ability to learn. Children living in poverty are more likely to experience poor health, which leads to absenteeism and potentially lower academic achievement. Finally, let's talk about something many of us, especially as teenagers, love to hate: sleep. It's often seen as a luxury, but it is, in fact, a non-negotiable biological need. If you haven't watched it yet, check out my video on what happens when you sleep. For a child, a lack of sleep can have a cascade of negative effects. It can impact their weight, mood, and most importantly for our discussion today, their ability to learn. Signs of a sleep-deprived child can include irritability, poor focus, and low motivation, all things that can easily be mistaken for other issues. The good news is that sleep education is becoming more and more a part of the school curriculum. The SHE Association and the Mental Health Foundation have developed resources for schools to teach students about the importance of sleep and good sleep hygiene. This includes things like having a consistent bedtime routine, avoiding screens an hour before bed, and understanding how blue light from devices messes with our body's natural sleep hormone. Some schools are even going a step further, with some local authorities recommending that schools consider a sleep plan for children who may need a short nap to feel refreshed and able to learn. This shows a growing recognition that a child's performance in school is not just about what happens from 9 to 3, but also what happens at home. By educating children and their families about the power of sleep, we can give them a vital tool for success that will serve them for the rest of their lives. So is the UK education system setting some children up to fail? Well, it's not a simple yes or no. The system has many strengths, but as we've seen, there are also areas where it falls short. A curriculum that prioritizes memorization over critical thinking, a focus on academic achievement at the expense of practical skills, a struggle to provide universal access to healthy nutrition, and a lack of emphasis on the importance of sleep all contribute to a system that for some creates unnecessary barriers to success. That said, the good news is that there are movements afoot, with brilliant organizations and dedicated educators working to change things. The conversation is happening, but it needs to happen more loudly. We need to support our schools in developing a more holistic approach to education, one that values a child's mental and physical well-being just as much as their exam results. Because ultimately, a child who is well-fed, well-rested, and well-equipped with the skills to think for themselves is a child who is ready to succeed, no matter what the future holds. After hearing all that information, what do you think? So do you have any solutions? How can we fix the UK's education system? Have you seen these issues in your own experience? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this video useful, please give it a like, activate the bell to be notified, and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.